How much fertilizer do we really need? The Soil Health Field Day at the farm of Dave Brandt over in Carroll, Ohio on April 5th, 2017. Coverage sponsored by Buckeye Soil Solutions, AGCO, Mayer Farm Equipment, United Landmark LLC, Will Rogers, entertaining speaker. Speaking on how soil health leads to reduced fertilizer needs. Introducing Ray Archuleta, conservation agronomist with the Natural Resource Conservation Service.
Excellent. Okay, this is how we're going to start off. I want you to give me an incredibly good morning. Good morning! Good morning! Oh, that gave me goosebumps. Thank you. I am the warm-up band, Bubba and the Gazoo. And we got Fleetwood Mac, the Haney Boy, George Strait. We got, that'll be the Gabe. And then we got Buzz Clute. He's Journey. So you know what? I'm the warm-up band. I'm sorry, guys, but that's the way it goes. But we're excited. Let me ask you, how many came from outside the country? Raise your hand. Wow, fantastic. How many people came from real close to Dave's neighborhood within 5 miles? Raise your hand. He's the only friend Dave has. What the heck? People from all over the world come and just get one person from local. Isn't that interesting? How many people from other states? Wow. Okay, now, how many zero tillers? Now, before you raise your hand, zero till, only the drill, and any tillage, you break out into a serious rash. Raise your hand. Good. How about strip tillers? How many of our organic brothers and sisters? Raise your hand. How many grazers? Graziers, yeah, great. And how many of you are thinking of integrating animals into your cropping systems? Raise your hand. Wow, you blow me away. How many extension? Raise your hand. How about NRCS? Raise your hand. Wow, I bet you came on your own dime, didn't you? Good for you. Good for you. Give him a hand. Doggone it, government employee coming. All right, woo! That's fantastic. Let's see. Private industry, raise your hand. Excellent. How many are here just to eat lunch? I knew. And to drink afterwards with the Gabe. That's what I thought. Okay, fantastic. Okay, folks, let's get started. Let me start you off with an incredible story that happened to me about 6 months ago. No, about 8 months ago. It doesn't matter what state, because it really doesn't matter about that. What matters to me is what happened. After I went to spoke at a national no-till conference, not national, but a no-till conference at a state. I came out, walking out of my suitcase, and guess what? I met this lady, and she comes up to me, and you can see she was emotional. She had heard me speak, and she says to me, "Ray, do you hunt?" And I said, "Oh my goodness. Did I offend somebody? She hunts. I'm the hunted." She says, no, Ray, you don't understand. I married into a family of 4, and we own 25,000 acres. And I have to work outside the house to pay medical insurance, and we farm 25,000 acres with 3 other brothers. And you could see the tears, the emotion. I was beginning to tear up, and it bothered me. She says, "Ray, we're doing everything wrong. We got rid of our no-till equipment. We went to conventional. We got rid of the fence, got rid of the livestock, and in front of my house, I see red equipment every day." That was hard to take. And then just recently in 2016, the Center of Disease says that farmers and ranchers have the highest suicide rate of any of the 30 careers in this country. What is happening? What is happening with all the stress, the emotion? And I'm telling you, when I go all over the country and I see the farmers and how they have to maintain millions of dollars of infrastructure just to make a living. But ladies and gentlemen, we are part of a new movement where we're going to change that. When rural America is going to come back to life, where the farmers do not have to give all their money to private industry and to big corporate America. They are pocketing it because they're going to be farming by design, emulating nature, mimicking it. This revolution will spread all over the world, and it is spreading. What you came to learn today is how to cut your inputs by mimicking nature. Not by no-till, not by cover crops, not by the animals, but integrating all of it as a system. Understanding is what we promote, not tools. And I really believe these 3 demonstrations that I'm going to show you is what started this movement. Nothing more articulate than the soil itself to speak to us. Gentlemen, the 4 I chose, come up here. I was very fortunate and very blessed that I got to go across the country and use these small demonstrations to speak to whoever would listen. And I'm excited about the change that's occurring. We get calls from all over the world that are learning how to farm like nature. I'm going to show you the demonstrations. I think a lot of you have seen it. Let me raise your hand. How many of you have seen the slake test? Raise your hand. Oh, bless your heart. How many of you can teach it? Awesome. So that's why you're going to get to see it again and again. If race slow, I got to do it all the time. And I never, ever get bored showing it. Okay? It's a slake test or aggregate stability. Okay, what this test shows, it is one indicator that shows about function, how the soil functions. It's about the structure, its integrity. We want to make sure that our soils have the structure and the internal integrity to withstand the forces of water entering it. The way this starts off, I'm going to get, Jack, you're going to get my beloved North Carolina soil. It's my last soil clod of North Carolina because I moved to Missouri. That's Ray Stiers. Ray Stiers is 84 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He has been doing no-till for 40. He's been doing multi-species cover crop for 30 years. Way before the Gabe thought about it. Hi, Gabe? He is phenomenal. His organic matter is 6.5% in that soil. Forest in North Carolina is 3% when Europeans entered there. Now, Greg, I'm going to let you do my beloved Missouri. Now that I live there, you two guys are going to be Ohio. I always collect soils from the local area. These 2 are still kind of wet. They should be dry to work correctly, but we're going to give them a try anyway. Jack, North Carolina, no-till. Okay? Greg's going to be holding Missouri, sod, and conventional. Okay? You're going to be holding conventional. Joe's conventional. Rick is no-till. I want you to think of Rick, Dave Brandt's farm, okay? That's Dave Brandt's farm, and this is his neighbor, okay? The one that's here. No, we're not going to say it was his farm. You're not going to like this one. No. Okay, now, here's how it works. Very simple test. I want you to do this in your own garden. I want you to do this in your own place. It's only one indicator. Please understand. The soil is complex, just as you are complex. It is one indicator to show function, but it's the most visual. The way it happens is we're going to drop these clods into the water. We're going to see what happens when the water enters to fill the pore space. If the biotic glues, the biotic substances, some people call it organic matter. I hate the name organic matter because it's much more elegant than that. The fusion of life, those biotic glues that hold the sands, silts, and clays. It's the biology that holds the geology and gives it life, okay? If there's no biotic substances, the clod will start to fall apart. If it falls apart, no porosity. No porosity, no infiltration. We don't have a runoff problem in this country. We have an infiltration problem. We have a soil function problem. You ready, gentlemen? Gently drop him into the cylinders. Go ahead. Okay? Okay? Now, beautiful. Notice the neighbor that just came here. No, this is the conventional soybean and tillage. Tillage, 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 and soybean. I don't think we understand, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most intrusive things we do in modern agriculture is tillage. Nature does not till. Her tillage equipment is soil biota. Living roots do the tillage. They open the soil. They do the business. Look at this no-till. In fact, I did this, Lauren, in Iowa, and this old Piedmont soil beat Iowa soil no-till. Yay! No, that was his. Yeah. No, it was not. But notice how the no-tills and all the low disturbance system. Please understand, when you till, you wake up bacteria are called R strategists. They are opportunist bacteria. They're designed to be in the soil system. I personally believe they're there because they help the healing process to start bringing weeds in. See, when you till, the soil will cannibalize itself. It will start to consume the organic substances, the biotic glues. They will consume it so that they can release nitrogen back into the system so it feeds the weeds. Nature does not want to be bare. Why wake up that system when you don't have to? Look at these conventional systems. These soils, it's about nutrient management. These soils will hold on to calcium. These soils will hold on to nutrients. These soils need less liming. He has not applied phosphorus in 19 years. He has not put calcium in years. He has not applied any inputs. He has reduced his herbicide application by 90%. He uses one herbicide now. If you start putting all the math, healthy soils will help reduce your nutrients. It will start facilitating a healthy nutrient cycling. Ladies and gentlemen, I personally believe this. If we would emulate nature, we would revitalize all our rural America. Money would go back into our small towns. We would be healthier. Our food is 50% less nutrient dense because of here. The soil has lost its integrity to hold the nutrients in. Okay? Now, remember, tillage is not your friend. Now, here's how I know one indication that I know you understand about tillage. I had one organic farmer says, Ray, thank you for not beating me up about tillage. But you taught me something. You said, if I till, it better hurt. See, because it really hurts you. It's gone into your heart, into your psyche. You understand. Now you're beginning to use your tools with wisdom. That's where I want you to be. It hurts. Now, we got another demonstration. Joe, Greg, are you able to show it? Probably not. Okay, these guys are going to be my little rain clouds. Rick, you're going to be my little rain cloud. Jack, do they need to get closer? Do they need to go down here? Okay, can I just get a look closer? We're going to be all snuggy here for a second, okay?
All right. I'm watching you.
He's watching me. Okay, these guys are the conventional tillage. Think of them as heavily disturbed. I mean the clod. And Greg, they're less disturbed, but I know better with you. Okay, we're going to make it rain gently. No, not gently, just squirt on it and see what happens when there is no biotic glues. Go ahead and make it rain on that. Oh, don't squeeze it like you normally get your rain. Does everybody get their rain perfectly? Raise your hand. when the rain comes at 10 or 15 miles an hour, look what happens. Look at the substances. Wow, look at that. Rick, you're a darn good cloud. We're going to call you global warming, dude. No, he don't like that at all. No, that's okay, Rick. Let me show you. Look at this. I forgot to tell him the one you get, you have to drink out of. No. This one doesn't have any glyphosate. You don't mind? No, he'll drink it too. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. This is why we have wind erosion. This is why, a major reason why we have chocolate lakes and rivers. Because the biotic glues, the biotic substances, they're floating in the atmosphere. They're called CO2 now. We want it in the soil, not in the atmosphere. We can change this. One thing, cover the land. If I had one practice, Dave, one practice only, what would you choose? If you guys had one conservation practice, what would you choose, audience? Cover crops. They said only one. Cover the land. Because not even no-till can start the feeding the microbes and healing the soil. It's life. It is the plant that infuses life with the biology that change it. No-till stops the destruction of the house. Please understand. No-till and covers are together. Okay? Now let's do the big rain simulator. Give these guys a hand, would you? You guys were awesome. Rick. Woo! Okay, now, let's really make it rain. Now, this is called the rain simulator. I prefer calling it something different. I call it how the house functions. Ecosystem processes machine. That's pretty fancy, isn't it? Eco means house. System, process, processes. The water cycle, the carbon cycle, the nutrient cycle, biocommunity, and capturing solar energy. Let's look at it. This is what we have here. This one right here is conventional tillage. This is no-till. Is this from your dad's? This is from Dad. Brad? Brandon? No, I can't even talk anymore. From David's. This is 1 year no-till with covers. This is 10 years with covers. And this is the pasture that's been overgrazed, and it's this high. And it's been overgrazed for years and years and years, right? Okay? Can everybody see that? Now, we'll be able to get the machine, and we'll point it, right? Now, let's go ahead and start to make it rain. Right, go ahead. Yeah, you got it. Now, the rain comes at 10 or 15 miles an hour. I am personally convinced that we are chasing the rain clouds away because of the bare ground that we have. That bare ground gives off latent and sensible heat. A majority of our land is bare, and the soil temperatures are increasing and pushing the rain clouds. And then when the rain does come down, it comes down in a ferocious velocity. Notice, can you see the back right there? He's working. Look at the back right there. You see that splash? Some of you might not be able to see that splash, but that splash lands right on the soybean and lands right on the plant and tomatoes, and it's a vector for disease. There's a bare ground. So, this water is coming down at a high velocity. So the reason I call it the ecosystem machine, those trays on the other end are capturing solar energy. Even now, if you let them out of the sun, they will be capturing solar energy to feed the microbes, to help the nutrient cycle and the water cycle. Is it working? Oh, this last one? There we go. We got to be fair about this, right? Okay. So, please keep in mind, number one thing farmers need to do, capture solar energy. If you don't capture solar energy, you don't build the water cycle because you don't build aggregates, and you also don't have a nutrient cycle. And then you have to do the biocommunity cycle. All these called diversity. We got to do all these 4 processes all the time on your operation. Capture the sun. Is the water cycle working on your operation? Is the nutrient cycle working? And diversity. Pretty darn simple. 4 things. Sun, water cycle, nutrient cycle, diversity. Diversity is what brings the nutrients and the mass and transports these precious nutrients within the biology. Diversity is incredibly important. Now, we got, how much rain do we got now? Oh, okay, we got a couple of inches. Let's take a look. It's good enough. Let's stop. Now, let's look at the conventional. Look how much water ran off. Look how much infiltrated. Okay, if we'd have gone more, this would be full, and there'd be very little coming in. Okay? Now, it's interesting, in parts of the country, in Arkansas, they get 55 inches of rain, and they're still irrigating. Why? Their water cycle is not functioning. Because their carbon cycle is not functioning. Let's do the no-till. Are we capturing the water? Is the water cycle working on your farm? I would say a majority of the planet, the water cycle is not working on most farms. And if the water cycle is not working, the nutrient cycle is not working. Simple as that. You cannot have nutrient cycling without water because the biology runs it. Now, let's do the 1 year of covers. This is conventional. Well, can you get it? Conventional 1 year covers. The healing process happens very quickly. But I'm going to make it very clear, ladies and gentlemen. If people want me to help them reduce inputs, you do not do it without no-till and covers. I'm sorry. It's not happening. That's called synergy. They need both each other. But look how quickly the covers. So if you're organic and you're conventional, cover it. Multi-species, diversity. Let's go to the next one. This is 5, same thing, 10 years, covers. Not surprised. Same thing should occur. And let's do our pasture. Look how much ran off. And it's covered 24/7. Just because it's covered doesn't mean the soil's functioning. One of the most intrusive things we do in modern agriculture is overgraze and hay. Hayland, most of the water will run off. Do you see what we do throughout the country is we create the dysfunctioning cycles. We create that. It's the way we look at the system. Thank you. Now let's go on to our PowerPoint. And any questions, folks, before we start? No? Oh, real quick. Rick, you want to come up here? While they're getting my PowerPoint up. My wife's from Missouri, to Show Me State. One of the farmers said, "Now, Ray, you put a rock up here." Well, I've had that. They say, "That's a rock." Rick, I want you to open it up and see water entered through there. Open it up. Dry. That's not dry. Yeah, he did. Are you from Missouri? That's what I was wondering. Thank you, Rick. Here, you can wash your hands. I'm good.
It was dry.
It's dry. Okay. I knew I would get a prankster up here. Okay, we're ready? Okay, nope, that's not where it starts. That's not where my PowerPoint starts. It starts, go up further up. There it is. Okay. Okay. Let's get going. We're going to knock the lights down a little bit so so we can see better? Okay, folks, 4 things. 4 things you need to do on your operation. Capture sun. It is so critical. I love the way Jim Harbaugh says, I never want to have spilled sun on my operation. If you have no covers at the end of your cropping system, you have spilled sun. And then you have to depend on another sun. I'll show you. Water cycle's got to work. Got to have the water cycle, and I got to have the nutrient cycle working, and then diversity. All these 4. It's simple. Water cycle, nutrient cycle, diversity. It's called the community of dynamics. It's diversity. It's diversity. Critical. This is what unites all of it. The plant. The plant and soil are one. I hate the name cover crop. I hate it. I can't figure out any other better name because the plant is an energy transformer. It's an infusion of life. The plants are critical. They feed the soil biology. They're the ones that turn the geology around to soil. It's the plant and soil are one. So, we need to capture the sun. Is this farm capturing sun? This is Illinois. I took this just about 2 or 3 months ago. Is that farm capturing sun? That farm is writing the front of the check, not the back of the check. Because he's not cycling nutrients. He's not feeding microbes. Sun. Oops. Let's go back. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, that's a slow, it's a camera, slow motion. That's a root exuding liquid sun into feeding microbes. I got to have that as much as possible throughout your rotations. Diversity, carbon, liquid sun feeding those microbes. Without that, there is no nutrient cycling. Without that, I cannot back you off nitrogen. Cannot happen. They provide it. It's right here. This is what a majority of our farms are running on. Ancient sunlight. Why are we going broke? Because it's expensive and it is finite. It is a finite resource. It is not an endless supply. Everything we do runs on that. I want you to run on new sunlight. This is a productivity of all our ecosystems, tropical rainforest, temperate, cultivated land. How good are we, considering that we push huge amounts of nitrogen, huge amounts of energy, and how effective are they? They're not very productive because they don't know how to capture, they're not efficient in capturing water, they're not efficient for nutrient cycling and for capturing sun. The water cycle. Water cycle, 40% of our rain comes from inland. 40%. 60% comes from the ocean. Please understand, plant and soil create climate. We cannot have climate without them. Everything is connected. When the water rains, we want it inside, so the plant is critical for this. This is what disrupts the water cycle. This is Arkansas, and they get 55 inches of rain. Now, please, don't be hard on Arkansas, because the whole country, the whole globe thinks this way. It's not just Arkansas. Arkansas is the state I'm responsible for. 55 inches of rain, and they still irrigate. Why? Is that a function? That's after a rain. Look at the water ponding up. It is running off. I get a lot of people pissed off when I show that slide because I tell people our lakes and rivers are filled with nutrient and conservation plans, but not clear with understanding. I am not here about process. I have a lot of people say, but Ray, we're a conservation planning agency. No, we're not. We're a technical agency. I am not about process, but understanding. That's what we are about. Look at the understanding that we have in 2016. That was taken in 2016, ladies and gentlemen. That is Texas. Can you see all the college degrees blowing? All the replicated research? Wow, we are brilliant, aren't we? I'm just not being, me too, folks. I thought this way. I went to 8 years of university. It's called reductionist science. It doesn't work in natural systems. It's holistic science that we're trying to teach. That is happening in our country now. How about this one? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Colorado, 2014. 1935, look at the difference. We're still doing this after 80 some years. Why are we still here? And please understand, I went to the organic conference and I said, look at this, 1935. The first 7,000 years of civilization, most of it was destroyed under an organic system. No chemicals. Tillage and overgrazing. See, we all are a fly. It's not about organic. It's not about a no-till. It's by farming by design, emulating the natural system. Arkansas, again, we're paying hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars to create that. That's land leveling. We level the soil so we can flood irrigate in an area of 55 inches of rain. You're probably saying, well, thank God, Archuleta, you're retiring in 60 days. But what happens, ladies and gentlemen, we can't tolerate this anymore as a nation, as a people. That's the point. Now, the nutrient cycle. Why? How much fertilizer do we need? You will hear that from the rock stars coming up. My whole point is you got to understand the nutrient cycle's got to work on your place. Again, the plant is critical all the time. No plant, no carbon, no nutrient cycle. Pretty simple. Please understand, our soils are dysfunctional. We have farms here, and we have farms emulating more of the forest. We want to be here. They handle nutrients different. This has more fungi. These does not. It's bacteria-driven. It can't hold calcium. It can't hold nutrients. It's a leaky system. We're changing that. Okay, 90% of nutrient cycling is right here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, a little video is supposed to come on. Here we go. It's moving. There's no microbes dancing. Okay. It's okay. There's one. That's a water bear in soils and water. It's they, when they die, their lives, they infuse nutrient cycling. 90% of nutrient cycling is biological. It's not a chemistry set. Biochemistry runs inorganic chemistry. Please understand, biology, physical, and chemical, they're not equal value. They are not equal value. It's the biology, biochemistry creates the inorganic chemistry to work. They build the aggregates. They make organic matter. The biology does. Fungi, very critical. We need them. They sequester the nutrients. This is unextracted. Let me show you geology. Every one of your farms is made of sand, silt, and clay. I don't care where you're at. Geology. Now, let's infuse life. When the organisms die, poop, urinate, die, they coat the soil. Now it's called soil. Until that happens, until life and somebody dies, it does not happen called soil. These are aggregates. This is what we want. This is the cottage cheese I want to see in my soils. Okay? Does it affect, how deeply does it go? Here's what happens. This is a no-till field in Indiana. This is a till field. Because the soil here has no, the aggregates are gone. There's no integrity. Look at the system. You cannot see it with the naked eye. Okay. Number one important thing to remember. Here it is. Everything is connected. Everything is one. Ecology, quantum physics, theology, all is one. You need to understand there's unintended consequences when you do something here. When you walk out in that field and what you do has unintended consequences. Cascading effects that can impact this, can impact this, can impact this. You have to think when you go out there what you're going to do. Critical, interconnectedness. Okay? Last one, community dynamics. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the diversity. Diversity is what moves all the nutrients around. This is what we're emulating by design. If there's a design, there's a designer. So if we want to emulate the design, well, I want the architecture on the top and the architecture on the bottom. We are emulating that with our mixes. This is why we didn't make this up. We follow the pattern. Pretty simple. Each of those roots can sequester nutrients. They leak different exudates. We are bringing ecological memory back. We're bringing the forest and the prairie back by doing mixes. That's what we're doing. Look at my biological primers. We are pumping sun, liquid sun into my microbes. And then when we bring them in, then we bring the organisms. And I get so tired of hearing, how about disease? How about pathogens? How about green bridge? We're going to transfer one disease to another because you're using covers. I am so fed up with it. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you have gone through your whole life and not get sick? Raise your hand. Okay? I'm talking about really sick, like dying sick. Raise your hand. All of you should raise your hand. You haven't died. Or are you already after hearing me? Ladies and gentlemen, microbes replicate every 20 minutes. Insects replicate every 2 hours. So I'm going to ask you a humble question. Why are we filled with 30 feet of microbes and insects? Why are we overrun by those critters? Why? Nature is self-healing, self-regulating. So is your body. All you got to do is feed it and keep it healthy and limit the disturbances. Nature's self-healing. You're self-healing, self-regulating. So if you impact the mycorrhizae, you affect the Springfields. And then you keep impacting because of your disturbances, too much fungicides, too much insecticides, too much tillage, and guess what happens? The system collapses. Then you go and write another check for inputs. So if you limit your tillage, your chemicals, and your biological disturbances, you're helping nature do its own self-healing, regulating principles. Please understand, there are 1,700 beneficials for one pest. Majority of the thing is get out of the way. Be patient. Let me show you. Iowa. This is a tropical forest. This is a forest. Look at Iowa. How good is their self-healing, regulating system working? And then when they get an outbreak, they go spray. Plant to solar one. This is what we emulate. The structure here. This is completely opposite of our systems. The prairie and the forest. If it's 30 inches and below, the prairie. The forest, 30 and above. What's the same commonality? They're covered 24/7. They have a living root. They have armor. They have diversity. They have animals in the system. Totally opposite of a majority of our farms. That's why they're so productive. That's why they need such little inputs. Now, some people say, well, Ray, where's your science? You've been smoking way too much cover crops. I said, yeah? How about this, researchers? They've known. He says, applications of principles and patterns from nature have been around for a long time. But they are rarely applied in our agroecosystems. It's been around a long time. Why is it becoming relevant? We're going broke. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what we say. Here's what we're emulating. Every time you walk into the forest, you walk on leaves, armor, and there's green trees growing out of that armor. If you walk into the prairie, you pull the prairie grasses, what do you see? Armor. Green growing out of brown. Armor 24/7. That's why we are rolling our cover crops. We are emulating this system. This is how we're going to get rid of irrigation in Arkansas. Green growing out of brown. Follow the design. Let me show you what farmers are doing. When I showed that at an organic conference, I said, what is that, organic producers? And they yelled, it's a cancer machine. And I said, I love my organic brothers and sisters. I said, no, that also drops cover crop seed into standing corn. And they go, whoa. They were excited. Look at here. Look what we're doing, folks. Biomimicry, mimicking nature. We want to get that cover. I don't care where you're at. That is critical. Look what farmers in Tennessee are doing. They are planting green into that standing cover. Notice how all the ecosystem processes are occurring to the last minute. Capturing sun, protecting the water cycle, the nutrient cycle, biodiversity, all at one time, and that corn and soybean are planted right into it, creating biomimicry. And that cover crop will turn brown, the corn will pop right out, green growing out of brown. It only took us 85 years to get it. Look at this. Cole Sims, my producer, 65 inches, his first year of covers. Look at Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor, raise your hand. Where are you, man? Did he come? There is my brother Mike Taylor. Look at him. He was excited. He's one of the very few in Arkansas that grows 85-day corn, 185 bushel. Neighbors thought he's insane. And Tony Pidrick, Watertown, Wisconsin, way far north, planting green. Do you know Tony was afraid to show that slide? He's with me teaching. Because he thought the neighbors were going to rip him because of the cultural and social pressure. Wisconsin. So what's the deal, ladies and gentlemen? What we have done the last 85 years is mindless obedience to the neighbors, to old science, to grandpa and grandpa that had been taught this way. It's just the way it is. We have to question. It doesn't have to be just the way it is. Question everything. I question every research paper. I question everybody. If it does not mimic intelligent design, I don't want it. I don't have time. The planet's been working quite well for the last millennia and many years. Okay, folks, we got to be that guy. That is an actual picture by August Landmeiser. We can't sit there and raise our hand to old thought process. We got to change the way we think. That is incredible. A lot of you are that person. Remember when you first went to no-till? That's what you were doing. And everybody else in the neighborhood was doing this. You stood up. I salute you. Now let's take it further. Let's mimic nature more. Now let's go to this one. I'm wrapping it up. Here's a young man that was quite impressive. Adam. I'm going to tell you, Adam Chappell farms 9,000 acres. He is a stalker of Dave Brandt. He watches YouTube all the time. It was Gabe, our videos that he watched because he was desperate. He said, we were going broke in Arkansas. So he started experiencing now, his budget was $4.7 million for 9,000 acres. He has dropped it down to 2.5 now in 5 years. Is he making money? Oh, yeah. Biomimicry. Uh-oh. I guess we're done. Did I press the wrong thing here? Here. It's not showing up there. Did I do something? So here, think about this, ladies and gentlemen. This young man has reduced 50% of his borrowing. He now goes to non-GMO. He's all non-GMO. His seed costs have dropped. He has reduced his tillage. He's reduced his fertility. He is making money. Now he's thinking of growing squash, watermelon. He's thinking of doing other things because he's got financial freedom. He lives in Cotton Plant, Arkansas. There he is, that young man. And then Keith Scoggins, one of our DCs. Look at this cover that he's standing. He is excited. Ladies and gentlemen, he is still irrigate, but he wants to get rid of that also. His poly pipe bill is $100,000 just to irrigate. That's a lot of money. No, that's just the pipe. That's just the pipe cost. His is this slide. The most dangerous phrase in our language is, we've always done it this way. Mindless obedience to old thought process. Okay, last slide. The illiterate of the 21st century is not those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot unlearn, learn, and relearn. That's the illiterate of the 21st century. We have to come to realize, ladies and gentlemen, we have to adapt. We have to change. Either we change or we don't survive. I humbly thank you for today, for coming. And I'm telling you, you're going to be very, very excited. Again, I'm the warm-up band. If you are really excited about this first part, the rest of the speakers are going to blow you away. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.